coming. We're so glad that you could join us for our 5th year of doing the Mitten. The Mitten was started my first year here with the children that are now in 3rd grade were in Ganone. And it was started because they wanted to put on a show. And so we had read the Mitten, and there's lots of characters in the Mitten, so we decided to put on the show the Mitten. Partway into the process of preparing for the Mitten, I learned that really they were more interested in selling popcorn than putting on a show. But thanks to them, it has emerged to be a wonderful event every year in our class. So every year it's just a little different on what the children are interested in. One year the children were really interested in the animals and how the animals moved. And so that year on the playground they practiced how the hedgehog walks, how the mouse crawls, things like that over and over again. Last year we started animal projects, and we continued that this year, where each child or each actor studied the animal that they are portraying, and we read books, we watched videos, and they created a project of their choosing to portray their animal. So that is in the hallway outside our room. So if you haven't seen that, please stop and look at it, ask your child to tell about it, and then make sure you return them to the room, because we want to make sure they're all here at the end of the Mitten production. But I would love for them to share what they did and why they chose to do it. So, the thing that's special about this year's Mitten is not necessarily something that we studied or that we did, but this year's class was such a beautiful sense of community as we prepared for the Mitten. It was like no other year. They really cared about helping set up. This Nikki always got the chair for Baba and had it waiting for her. Another child, she was sad. She didn't think that the fox was quite girly enough, so another girl got a little hair clip and added it to the fox for her. So a lot of just beautiful moments have happened over and over again. If they're reading a book and they see their friend's character in it, they run and show them, look, Dahlia, I found the badger in my book. So there's been a lot of really special moments that the children have bonded and shared. And so that's what I have really appreciated and enjoyed about this year's production. So I appreciate you coming, and we'll get started in our short show.
The Mitten are damn blessed.
Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his mittens made from wool as white as snow.
Baba, will you make me Snow White mittens?
At first his Baba did not want to knit white mittens.
If you drop one in the snow, you'll never find it.
But Nicky wanted Snow White mittens, and finally Baba made them. After she finished, she said,
when you come home, first I will look if you're safe and sound. And then I will see if you have your Snow White mittens.
So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. A mole, tired of tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. 2 snowshoe rabbits came hopping along. They stopped for a moment to admire their winter coats. It was then that they saw the mitten, and they wiggled in, feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for all of them, but when he saw the rabbits' big kickers, he moved over. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbits were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbits, and the hedgehogs grumbled, but when they saw the owl's flinty talons, they quickly let him in. Up through the snow appeared a badger. She eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the hedgehogs, the rabbits, and the owls were not pleased. There was no room left, but when they saw her big diggers, they gave her the thumb. It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotted by, stopping to investigate. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in. When the mole, the rabbits, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw her shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in.
Is Betty heard? Max put his nose on Ben's.
So, the mittens were packed in as tightly as could be, but what animals would argue with the bear? The mitten swelled and stretched, it was pulled and bulged to many times its size, but Baba's good knitting held fast. Along came a meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wiggled into the one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. The force of the sneeze shot the mitten into the sky and scattered in all directions. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was his lost mitten silhouetted against the big sky. As he ran to catch his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she looked to see if he had his new mittens. The end. Benji, come take a bow. All right, ready? Take your bow and get your clap. All right, you can go see your guests and tell them thank you for coming.
Oh, wait, sorry, we have one more thing.
Yeah.
Frankie.
Uh-oh.